Anybody, if you have something to say, you could just raise up your hand and then I'll give you the chance to speak. So we could start right away. We are 2 minutes in already. Anybody? Okay, let me just give us a recap of what we did yesterday. According to FitSum, yesterday we did if else statement and we went on to add the else if statement too. So if else statements are conditional statements. We use if we have different options and we want to choose just one option, we use our if else statement. For example, if we use an example, if you are creating an app and the app is for only people from 18 years and above. So you could add the condition if the user is 18 years old, you tell them you can use the app. Else, you tell them you can't use the app. That's following their input because you're going to prompt and ask them for their age. Okay, so that was that for if else. And I believe we understood it because I saw some of the tasks. Some of us did the tasks, so I was very impressed while waiting for others. Okay, so today we'll be moving into the loops, for loop, while loop, and do while loop. And of course, as usual, we usually have someone to take us. And today we'll be having one of our own, a great guy too. Believe me, he's one of the persons that has motivated me to do what I do today. So without much ado, I'll welcome Mr. Uwem Ekwewo. Mr. Uwem, I welcome you to the meet. Please, I hand over the mic to you.
Hey, hello everybody, good evening. So can I get some feedback? Good evening, guys.
Hello. Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Wait, I love the way you guys sound. David, come on, you said, wait, leave the floor for who and go where. Come back, oh, don't go far. Hey guys, such a pleasure to be here. My name is Uwem. Hello, guys, can you give me some feedback, please?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, very, very good. So yeah, let's jump right to it. I try to draft little stuff in my head from how it goes. So you guys would pardon me. Let's just do this like ad hoc as it comes. So loops. Well, the thing about C is this. C is a language, right? We use it to like interact, like we can interact with the computers and stuff. And this because like computers can't speak English, basically. So basically people develop languages, that do all sorts of things, can use for all sorts of things, and C is one of them. And every language has its own syntax, just like English or French or Russian. Every language has its own syntax. So in C, there is something called loops. Okay, but it's really nothing to be worried about because loops is something that we have been applying all through our lives, actually. In our everyday lives, we apply loops. So I'm just gonna ask real quick. I just want a response from somebody. When you hear the word loop, never mind C or anything. When you hear the word loop, like what comes to your mind? What do you guys think a loop is? Can I just get somebody to respond, please? Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
I just want to know I don't hear from anybody what they think a loop is. Minus David, please. Okay, Safia, please go ahead. Safia. Can you hear me, Safia? Did you raise your hand? Okay. Let me share my screen. I hope you guys can see my screen. Let's look forward to Sorry?
Yes, we
Was
can see
somebody
you.
saying something? Oh, okay. Did you say you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, please tell me, what is a loop to you? Loop. The word loop. What picture does it paint to your mind?
Something that is intertwined, I think.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so let's look here. It says, what is a loop? Let's see the first one. Loop means I'm doing it this way so that you guys can lose any kind of fear or any kind of I don't know trepidation you have in your heart. It's really nothing. All right, but I need you to come with me. So here it says, let's see this first definition. It says, if something runs in the loop or is it on the loop, it runs continuously so that the same things are repeated again and again. I give you an example in your daily life. Let's imagine that you are going to wash some of your clothes, right? Let's say you have 5 shirts to wash, okay? And you're washing them one after the other, maybe based on for one reason or the other, but you have to wash one, rinse it, and go out and put it on the line and come back in and wash the second one, and like that and like that. So first of all, you get a bucket, you put water into it, you put detergent, you wash the shirt, you rinse it, you take it outside, you dry it, you come back again, put the second one in the bucket of water, wash it. Now that, in other words, is a loop, okay? Starting from when you put the shirt in the water and wash it, and probably going to the point where you dry it on the line or on the rope and come back again. Now that is what a loop basically is, something that is continuous. So now, let me read from what I wrote. I said loops can execute a block of code. Now this is about loops in the C language. Loops can execute a block of code as long as a specified condition remains true. A loop will continue as long as a specified condition remains true. Using our example of probably like drying clothes on the line, let's say the line can hold just 2 clothes per time. So when you take the first one and dry, you go back and wash the second one. When you bring it out and dry, the rope is full, you cannot dry anymore, then you stop washing. So basically the loop has been terminated. All right. So loops can execute blocks of code as long as a specified condition is reached. And loops are actually very, very useful because, they save time, they can reduce errors, and they make code more readable. Now that's loops. Now, basically, there are about 3 types of loops. Let's talk about the first type. Let me, please permit me to pull up program is. Are you guys with me, please?
Yes.
I'm not getting feedback though. Okay, good. So,
Yes.
yeah, so very good. Let's talk about the while loop.
Where are we to?
Let me just remove all of this. Let's talk about the while loop. Now, let me just try and write this for you guys. All right. Now, the while loop runs through a block of code as long as a specified condition is true. By the way, when you put these 2 forward slashes, it means that you're writing a comment. The code is not going to run that. So let me just write this for you. The while loop loops through a block of code as long as a specified condition is true. That's basically a while loop. And for the syntax for a while loop, the syntax is these are the syntaxes. You go while, then in brackets you put in the condition for the loop to run, and after that, in curly brackets, you put in the code to be executed. That's the syntax for a while loop. Now, let's see one example where a while loop is used. Let's see one example where a while loop is used. Let's write the code that will use a while loop. Now let's see this. Let me try and think of something that we could use a while loop for. Let's go back here. Let's declare an integer I. Let it be equal to 0. Sorry. Now, while I is, let's say, less than, for example, 5. While I is less than 5, print percentage D, I. Now, when you run this code, right? Can you guys hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can
Hello.
hear you.
Okay, very good. Now, when you run this code, as long as I is less than 5, it will continue to print. Okay, so let me run this code and you guys tell me what you think. Okay, we do not have a semicolon at the end of print. All right. Do you guys see this? Hello, guys.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, can anybody tell me what's going on here? Why this is happening? Why is the 0 running and running and running and running and running? Can anybody tell me why? I have to go back and look for your hands. Is anybody raising their hands? Okay, well, in any case, so in this case, this code will run as long as I is less than 5, okay? Unendingly, because there's no condition per se, rather there's no incrementation. So what we need to do is this. We go I plus plus. Now, when we do this, I is going to increase from 0 to 4. Unlike in this case where you just said that 0 and kept on running because it was less than 5, it kept satisfying that condition anyway. So it kept on running. We're not incrementing. So when you increment, this is what happens. It goes from 0 to 4. I just did that so you guys can see what happens with the implementation. And then you need to always watch that. Otherwise, your loop will just keep on running. Now, that's the while loop. Now, let us consider the do while loop. Let's consider the do while loop now. This is the do while loop. It's a variant of the while loop. All right. In the case of the do while loop, the code block is going to run once before it checks for the condition. Now, let me show you what I mean. Like for here, you can put do print D. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to I'm trying to like just change it to like a dual code so that you can see what it means. Okay, so here, right? Here this code to print I would happen once before it checks for the condition. It will always happen once before it checks for the condition. So it will do the printf, and after it has done that, it will now go to the while and check the condition. If the condition holds, it will come back to do the printf again. Let's run this. Okay, let's see. We have 10. Okay, sorry. Let me try and check that. So now you see this. It printed the 0 before it went to check. So now let's say, for example, let's change let the value here be, let's say, 7. Now you see that the condition for I being less than 5 doesn't hold because 7 is actually greater than 5. So it's not going to hold. But yet, if you run it, it's still going to print because it's going to first do what's in the loop before it goes to check the condition in the while. Let's see what happens here. You see, it actually prints the 7 and it quits there. So it does the first, what is after the do, before it goes to check for the condition. That's a do while loop. To do this, after it does that, it will go and check the condition. If it's true, it will come back. In this case, the condition wasn't true, and so it ended here. I don't know. Are you guys following, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, that's the do while loop. Now, let's try the next loop. It's called a for loop. Don't worry, we'll come and try some examples of all of them. Let's try a for loop. Okay, what's a for loop? Now, a for loop is a little different from a while loop. The major difference is this. You use a for loop when you already know the number of times you want to run it. That's when you use a for loop. You know how many times you want to loop a block of code, then you can use the for loop instead of using the while loop. And the syntax for the for loop is pretty simple. Let me just write the syntax. Syntax is for example, you're going to have a first statement. Let's say statement 1, then a semicolon. Then you have another statement 2, then another semicolon, and you have statement 3. That's the basic syntax for a for loop. After your statements, you have a curly bracket, and it's in the curly brackets that you have the block of code to be executed. That's the basic syntax for a for loop. Now, the statement 1, let me try to read out what I wrote here for the statements. The statement 1 is repeated one time before the block of code is executed. Don't worry, I'm going to show you an example. I'm just like giving you an idea of what's going on. Statement 1 will be executed once before the block of code is executed. Statement 2 defines the condition for the loop, that's for executing the block of code. And statement 3 is executed every time after the code block has been executed. Let's have an example. Let's try and print the numbers between 0 and 4. Let's write the code to print the numbers between 0 and 4 so that you can see what I'm talking about. Let's say integer I. Now for I equal 0. I still less than the same 5 now. And I plus plus. Print. Okay. So here. Let's run this. So like now you see, this is a code to print the numbers between 0 and 4. Just like I told you, you see this first statement, 1 is equal to 0. Now that statement sets the variable before the loop, which is 0. That's the very first, the variable before the loop. Okay? Then the second statement, which is I is less than 5, it sets the condition for the loop to run. That's I must be less than 5. That condition must be true for the loop to run. That is the second statement. Then the third statement, which is the I plus plus, increases the value of I. Now that is the structure for the syntax for a for loop. Now there's another kind of loop after that. That is a or let's just try one example first, because I think I saw the video from yesterday. I saw you guys printed or wrote a code to print the even numbers, right? Now you know that there are several ways you can write codes to find the same solution. So let's use this for loop to print the even numbers between 1 and 10, different from using the if else statement you guys did before. Let's try it. Let's use a for loop for, I'm sorry. Yeah, so for I go to 0, then let's have I, because this is like the numbers between 1 and 10. So let's have I less than 10. And then let's increment it this way. So you'll see now, this will now print the even numbers between 1 and 10 using a for loop. Let's try that. Oh, sorry, this went from 1. Okay, we didn't actually increment it, sorry. So who sees what is going on here? Hello? Is anybody with me?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so who sees what's going on here? Oh man, no, I'm not getting feedback. I don't know if you guys are sleeping. I hope not. Okay, well, let's go to the nested loops. Another kind of loop is a nested loop. A nested loop basically is when you put a loop inside of another loop. Okay, sometimes that can be done. If you put a loop inside of another loop, After the program has executed the first loop, it will go ahead and then execute the inner loop, then come back. As after every iteration of the first or outer loop, it will execute the inner loop. Let me try and see if I can write something to say that. Right. First, I have to integers now. Okay. Now this is for the outer loop, right? Let's write the for loop for that. For I, one, for example. Print I. Okay, that's for the outer loop now. This will let me see. This will execute 2 times because it's actually between going from 1 to 2 times. That's for that one. Then and let's do for the inner loop. For T now. Less than equal to 3. F. That was the inner. Percentage D. Okay. Okay, let's try and run this. Okay, what's going on here? Before it says what? What's wrong with this code, guys?
Can I try?
Yeah, sure, please.
So with the last printf statement, you didn't add the semicolon.
Oh, okay, very good.
And then I don't know if it affects it, but were you not supposed to do the int main at the beginning after include? Or
Yes,
that,
yeah, of course, you have to have the function. Thank you very much.
Go.
Thank you very much. Anybody see anything else?
How about the return value? Isn't it supposed to return 0?
No, you don't need to return the value here. Still run, it will return.
Okay.
But let me see. I have one open, one extra open curly bracket. Yeah, so this is it. One outer would run. You see that? After one outer runs, then 3 inners would run. Then one outer would run again. That's the second one, the outer 2. Then 3 would run. I don't know if you guys get this. I don't know.
No, I don't.
People raising their hands. I can't even see. I have to come back here. Is anybody raising their hands, please? Or should we just try? Okay, or should we just try some questions? Maybe that'll make it clearer. I set up something that might be easy to follow. Where did I leave that? I think it is here. Okay, very good. You see this? These are some exercises. Let me see. So maybe let's do this together so that we can all follow. These are just some basic questions that. Well, the thing is, I wish I can hear from people so that we can just do this one after the other. Can you guys see this, please?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes, so we can.
So let's see this very question. Can anybody put me through, like, for example, this is actually supposed, this is a do while loop. So what goes in here, please? From what we just discussed. Remember, like the do while loop, it's first of all going to do the do loop, regardless of the condition. Is after it has run that loop, it's going to go and check the condition. So first, here is a do. After it does this, then here's the incrementation, of course. After it does this, it will now go and check this condition. So do here and then while. You get? These are very basic exercises. I thought if we ran through them together, everybody would understand. Now, this is a for loop. Can anybody help me out here? Like, what goes here?
4.
4.
Very good.
And then the increment.
Very good. And then the increment. Now, this will print here. So I don't know. We could actually be copying these things and taking to the programs, but that will take a lot of time. So please just follow. This will just print here 5 times. Let's try a couple more. Okay. Now this one's a little different. Now this one's used to stop a loop when the I is 5. You see this for integer, so 0 less than 10, I plus plus. Now if I is equal to 5, they want the loop to end there. Does anybody have any idea what could go here? Any ideas? Just go ahead and speak if you have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what goes here?
Okay, no.
So what did you say?
I thought it would be a break, but I don't know.
Exactly, it's a break. So that will now break it at 5. We could copy this and then, I don't know, maybe I'll copy some so they can see how it runs. But if you write this code and have break here, when it gets to 5, it's going to break regardless. So it's going to stop at when it gets to 5 and not progress to 6. Okay. Oh. Okay, this one says in the following loop, when the value is 4, jump. Very good. So here, this loop is when the value is 4, it's supposed to jump directly to the next value, meaning it's not going to print 4. It probably prints 0, 1, 2, 3. When it's 4, it's going to just jump and go to 5. Anybody have any idea?
Continue.
Very good. Continue. So when it gets to 4, or rather when it gets to 3, it's going to skip 4 in the for loop. Okay, let me see if there's any more. Oh no, this is array types. So I think with this background, maybe Mr. David could pull up some of your
Okay. I think his network or he mistakenly ended the meet there, but he will join us back in a minute. So I believe we've been enjoying ourselves, but we'll continue the session until he comes back. So Gigali, please. Okay, he's back.
Sorry, I got kicked out my network. So, Mr. David, I think maybe what you could do, could you run them through some of the exercises from their tasks?
Okay, no problem, sir.
I think that make it more explanatory rather than just the theory alone like this.
Okay, I will.
All right, so guys, nice talking to you. I'm going to go do some other stuff. David will just run through some of the exercises so I can get a hang of how to use the while loop, the for loop, and the do while loop. But I'm very sure from what you guys are seeing, it's pretty just a very simple thing. The basic idea is how to think of the algorithm in your head so that you know when to use them. While loop, you know when to use it. A for loop is when you know exactly how many iterations you're running. As you do more problems, you get more versatile with them. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Uwem, for being out here and taking us on the session. We appreciate you a lot. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Uwem has left, so we look forward to having him another day. Okay, so we'll rush through what we have done and then we'll try to solve some tasks. But before I start, Gigali, please, you have a question.
Yes, thank you very much. I wanted to ask, so when he was explaining the while loop and the do while loop, right? I see he put the increment after the print f. So I wanted to know, is that the syntax or can you put it even after int I? Or
Okay.
I'm confused.
Okay, I'll rush us through that again so that we could
Thank you.
Get a grab of what we're doing. Okay, you're welcome. So as we discussed earlier, we have a repository where all these lessons are already compiled in. So let's go over there, C programming tutorial. I've sent the links to the repository already. So if you've not gotten that, you should go and do what I said you should do to fork the repository, clone it, and have access to it. Okay, so loops. Okay, this is loops. I can't believe we did loop before ternary operator. Okay, so just like he explained, we have for loop, while loop, and do while loop. And knowing when to use them will really help you in your program. Can we see my screen, please? Gigali, please, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, very good. So I think I should just make it a bright screen so we could see. Okay, so as I said earlier, knowing all of these will help you to know when to use a particular kind of loop. So let me start with the for loop because it's always like the first on my list. So what is a for loop? Let me go to my tutorial here. So a for loop basically is used to iterate. Let me zoom in here so we could see. A for loop is basically used to iterate through a particular range of numbers or alphabet or whatever it is you want to iterate through. So I just want to brush us through so that we could attempt some of the tasks we have. So a for loop is used to iterate through some set of numbers or range of values or something like that. Okay, and the syntax for a for loop is we have our for keyword, just like as it told us, and then we open our parentheses. Then inside our parentheses, we have three stages of statements. Okay, the first one, I love to think of it as the initialization statement. What does it mean for us to have an initialization statement? So I'll just, let's say we want to print numbers from 1 to, let's say, 10. Yeah, 1 to 10. That's very standard. Okay, let me make it blend. 1 to 50, right? So for us to print from 1 to 50, we need to have a start, a stop, and then the increment. Now, the start will be the initialization statement. Yeah, so that means that's where we want to start from in printing our numbers. And in this case, we want to start from number 1. Okay, yesterday I did something and somebody asked, so this is where you get the clarification of that. So this is what I did. I declared, let's say, for example, Kigali starts with letter I. Sorry, K. So I'll use K. Okay, yeah. So I declared K here. So this is where I open my for loop. I'll say for K equals to, of course, I said the first stage of it is our initialization. That is where we start from. So I'll say for K equals to 1. And then I have everything is separated with our semicolon. That is the initialization statement. Now, also mind you that the reason I didn't declare this inside of here is because I've declared it inside of here. So let's say I comment this out, that means this is no longer useful. For me to use this inside of here, I will need to define it by saying for int k equals to 1. But if I do it outside of my loop, I don't need to do that again. Remember, we have rules that when you declare a variable, when you want to use it again, you don't declare it again. Rather, you just go ahead and initialize it to a value. So that was what happened yesterday. So moving on, after the initialization statement, we have the test expression. Now, I love to think of the test expression as where we want our loop to end, right? Not, okay, for example, we are printing from 1 to 50, right? So that means our test expression here should be where we want our loop to end. That meaning that I want it to end at 50. So in this case, I'll say when k is less or equals to 50, all right? So I want my loop to start from 1 and then ends at 50. That's what I'm having for k equals to 1. When k is less or equals to, basically it's going to stop at when it is equals to 50. All right, so let's see what we have next. The next one, we have our update statement. Of course, for me to be able to print this from 1 to 50, for every time I print it on the screen, I need to update it, that is, increment it. And we learned about our increment operators then, that we have, of course, different types of increment operators. We have something like, let's say k plus plus, or we could have plus plus k, depending on what you want to do. Both of them work for different purposes. So I have my k plus plus. K plus plus here means increment my values by 1. If I wanted to increment my value by 2, I would say k plus equals to 2. So for every time k increases, it will increase in 2s. But if I don't want that, I'll just say k plus plus. That means incremented by 1. So, and then we open up our loop. Remember, whatever goes into your curly braces in any function is the body of that particular block of code. So if this statement, this is our test expression, if this becomes true for every time we run our loop, the body of this statement will be executed. Of course, we know that from our if statement. So what do I want my loop to do if this is true? Let's just print. So I will just say print I. In this case, I have modulo.d, and then I'm printing k, rather, not I. So this is this. So I'm going to, okay, let me just show us that. So for k equals to 1, k this, that, k. So you see we have from 1 to 50, just like I was wanted. But then it's clustered. I can hardly read this. What do? I'll just add space between my numbers. So for each time it prints this, I'm going to have a space, and then it prints another one. So I want to explain to us how that actually works. So this is how the loops work. So it will check this for k equals to I. Then it will, remember how test expression is read. Is k less or equals to 50? Of course, that's true. Now let me take us back. Now our loops, the way it runs, they start from here and then check our test expression. It doesn't check here then. After this place, it goes into the body and executes the code inside of this place. That's why we have 1. Here it says for k equals to 1. That means k is now 1. Is k less or equals to 50? Of course, 1 is less than 50, which is true. So what should happen? It will print k, and k in this case is still 1. That's why we have k on the screen here. And then this space here is this space we are seeing in between. Now, after this, the next place it goes is our increment. It increments our k by 1. So in this case, k was 1. 1 plus 1 becomes 2. Okay? Now it goes back to the beginning and asks and checks k is now equals to 2, right? Update it. And now it asks, is k less or equals to 50? Of course, 2 is less than 50. What happens? It comes into the body and prints k. K is now 2. That's why we have 2. And then the space here is what we see here. So that loop goes on and on and on till it gets to 50. All right? Or let's say it gets to 49. And then it checks, is 49 less than 50? Of course it is. It prints 49 on the screen and the space. And then it increments it to 50. Comes back here, k is now equals to 50. Now it will ask, is k less than 50? Of course, it's not less than 50. But is k equals to 50? Yeah, this case is equals to 50. So this statement is true. What happened? It comes inside of here, prints k. And then it jumps into this place again. K becomes 51. It comes back here. So k is now equals to 51. Now this statement comes up. Is 51 less or equals to 50? Of course, it's not less than 50 and it's not equals to 50. So this is false. That is when our loops terminate. And then we jump. So After that, if you had any other thing there, it's going to execute. This is outside the loop. So I'll say this is outside the loop. Then, so I'll run this code for us to see how it works. Let's put that in a new line. So that is the for loop. So you see, it's because this is outside the loop. If this was to be inside, okay, let me just take this. I want to really show us how this works. No, let me not do that. If this was inside of here, of course, once it gets to 50, it wouldn't print. But because this is outside of this loop, once it terminates, that's why we have this printed on the screen as this is outside the loop. So that is the for loop for us. Just used to iterate through a particular range of values. You could use this for anything. I could use this to print from A to Z too. Of course, A to Z are characters. So here I will say for K equals to A. Sorry, it's a character, so it will be inside of a quote. K less or equals to Z, K plus plus, and then I'll change this to C. What happened? Print. So we have A to Z, and then this is outside the loop. So that is what the for loop does. I hope we understand that. Okay? So going into the next one, we have the while loop. The while loop. So what does a while loop do? Now, a while loop, the way a while loop does, it checks for the test expression. If the test upon the test expression being true, it will keep executing the body of that while loop until the statement becomes false. Okay, so this is the syntax for a while loop. We have while, and then inside of that we have our test expression. We know what a test expression is. Okay, a statement that results to either true or false. And then we have the body of the loop. That is that. This is the while loop. So we used the for loop to print from 1 to 50. So let's use the while loop to print from 1 to... Whose name am I using now? I'm going to use John Ezekiel. So I will use J in this case. So I will say J equals to... So in this case, I'm initializing my J because I cannot initialize it inside of here. I could do that actually, but it will look a little bit complex. So in... J.
David, we can't hear you.
He's having a network problem.
Uh-oh. Let me go back. Okay. Can somebody still hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Okay, but you cannot see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't see your screen.
Okay, I'm sorry. A call came into my phone, so it interrupted my network. I'm not using my Wi-Fi. Okay, Safia, can you see my screen now? Can anybody see my screen, please?
Yes.
Yes, we can
Okay,
see
very-
it.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so as I was saying inside our while loop, I said I initialized this to 1 because unlike our for loop where we have 3 instances, the start, the stop, and the increment. Now while loop, we can just execute 1 statement instead of it. But I could do all those things inside of here, but it's a bit technical for us. So let's just keep it simple. So this is my start point, J equals to 1. That's how I'm initializing it here. And then this is where I want it to stop. So while J is less or equals to 50, what should happen? I want to print J, print F modulo D, right? With a space, A, right? So while J is less than equals, less or equals to 50, which means I'll be printing J. So this statement comes in is J less than or equals to 50? J is 1. Of course, it's less than 50. So it will print. Please, I'm so sorry. Call came in again. Can you still see my screen, Fola?
Yes, I can.
Okay, very good. Please, apologies for that. So upon printing this, I'm going to increment my J. So that's where I have J plus plus. Now, I could also do this by J plus equals to 1. We learned this. These are all augmented operators. Or I could say J plus plus. It works the same way. Increment J by 1. That's the aim. So I'll just go ahead and print J. So we still have the same result from 1 to 50. So that's basically a while loop. Now, another instance I could use to give out, let's do something more practical. Remember yesterday we created an app that asks for, not we created an app, we created an instance in an app that asks for a user's input, right? That if your age is not up to 18, it will tell you that you cannot use this particular app, right? Okay, what if the user does not enter the age? What should happen? Understand something like that? Have you ever used an app where you are asked to input a particular thing like your email, and then you try to skip that part, but it will keep asking you to put that even if you try to skip it? That is a while loop there. So while that bar is empty, it will keep asking you for your input until you actually input something. Then you'll be able to pass that. So let's do something here. I'll prompt the user for enter your age. We should be saving our code, so we need to rewrite it every time. Enter your age. So I'll say scan F. I'm sure we understand this by now. I'm going to use, it's very good to use descriptive words when writing our code. So I'll go here and change it. Age. Okay. So we say while, okay, let's say while age is, could you say less than 0? Less than 0. That's very lame. While age is less than 0, copy this. Paste this. So this is very, very lame, but let's just do it. So I'm saying, okay, nobody can be 0 years old, right? Nobody can be less than 0 years old. If you're a baby, then you're 0 years old. But nobody should be less than 0 years old. So let's say we are creating the app and you could use the app as far as you're from 1 year old upward. But then if you enter an invalid input like 0 or -1, of course, that's an invalid age. So we'll keep asking you for your age until you input your correct age, right? Okay, so that's what this is. So while age, this is the age. While what the user is going to input as their age is less than 0, we'll keep asking them for their age and say, please enter your age. And then let's make it more practical. After the user has inputted their age, we'll say you are, is that printf? You are modulo D years old. Okay, and then I will have age here. So let's see how our program is going to run. So it's asking me for my age. I'm going to say I am -9 years old. I hit enter. What happened? While age is less than. Come on. I don't know, but this is supposed to run properly. Okay, this is an online compiler. So you could, let me copy this code for you. You could try the code. It's supposed to run properly, but let me run it again one more time. It could be network or something. So I'm going to say I am 5 years old. I'm still running. So it could be anything. I'll copy the code for you. You could run it on your own compiler. It's going to run. Sometimes online compilers could give you errors. So basically what this was supposed to do was that it will ask you for your age here, and then you input your age, right? And then while age is less than 0, okay, it will say enter your age again. So you keep entering your age until your age is greater than 0, and then it will print out you are this years old, depending on your input. But what could have made it not to run? That was very awkward. I'm sorry we couldn't get that to run, but let me try that again. Okay, so I will say I am -9 years old. Okay, that was what happened because of the space. You know the rules of scanf. I don't know if you learned that while you were taught scanf. So I'm going to enter -5, minus 2. You see, it will keep asking me for my age until I say, okay, let me tell you I am 12 years old, and then I enter. Tell me you are 12 years old. So this is the concept that is being used in those kind of situations, in those real apps. This is actually the main concept that is being used. I hope we understand this. So I'll copy this, paste it for us so that we could also use it. Now this is the correct code. So let's move over to the next kind of loop. The next kind of loop we have is the do-while loop. Of course, the do-while loop almost works like the while loop, but in this case, we have the do clause. Now, what does it mean to have it? What does the do clause does? What it does is that the statement instead of the do clause will be executed first before it checks the condition. Remember, in this case, it's checking the condition first, saying while age. So if this is true, this will be executed from the first instance of the looping through. This will be checked. But in the do while loop, it will first of all execute what is inside the do clause before it actually checks the while clause. Okay, so let's just go over that. So I'll just copy this because I'm going to use that. So let's write this same program again using the do while loop. No, let me not clean that. Okay, so in this case, I said it's going to check our statement before. So remember, I had my code here asking for the user input before my while loop, right? But in this case, what I could do is add this here. It's going in. So it's going to check this first before it actually goes in and check the my condition. And my condition was while age is less than 0. What should happen? Should keep checking for this. So I'll run this. So you see, we still have the same thing. So I don't have my prompt and the asking for user input outside of my loop here, but it's still asking for the input because this is going to execute first. Of course, if you try this in a while loop without having this outside of this, it will not be executed. Your loop will just skip then to the last statement. So I'll enter my age as -1. See, keep asking me. So after inputting -1 here, it will check, is -1 less than 0? Of course, it's true. So it will come back and ask my input again. So let's say I enter -3. If -3 less than 0, of course it is. It will come back again and ask until I input a positive number like 4 years, and then to say is 4 less than 0, of course it's not. So this becomes false, and my loop terminates. And that is why I'm having, this is outside of the loop. You are 4 years old upon my input. So that is basically a do-while loop. So do-while loops too could also be used in that kind of instance where you need to verify a user's input before you could give them access to a particular thing on your your app, your web application, or something like that. We've seen instances like that. So this is what is going on at the back end of it. So I hope we've understood this in a way. So I'll give room for questions before I still have some battery left, before I could try to solve some of your tasks and then take you through the C programming repository. So do we have any questions? Anybody? Any questions, any challenges? Okay, I'm liking that. That means the explanation is good. We are getting it. All right, very good. So let's check out some of the tags we have here. So this tag says, where is the first tag? This one says the program will assign a random number to the variable this time. Okay, I didn't want to use a program that has a source code. That means that's been written. But something we could do is, no, let me not stop. I need something more complex this one has a source code. Write the program that prints the alphabet in lowercase followed by a new line. This is interesting. So this program just wants us to print the alphabet. We've done that already, right? So I will just take out all of this. We've done that already. So we are going to, of course, initialize our whatever it is. Let me look for someone's name. Fola, I've not used Fola. So I will say char Fola. I'll just initialize declare Fola. I hope we know the difference between declare, define, and initialize. If you don't know, don't worry. During your function class, it will take time to explain that. So char Fola. So I'm going to use, of course, when we need to print something of that to iterate through a particular range of values, we use our for loop. Because we are printing from A to Z, we use our for loop. So we say for Fola equals to, because it is a character, we put it inside of quotes. We know the rules. So I want to start from A, and I want to end it. So Fola less or equals to Z, and then I will increment Fola by 1, which means increment Fola for me by 1. So I'm going to print Fola. I wonder we're going to print Fola. That sounds very, very fun. So because it is a character, you know why I'm adding a space after the C, after our placeholder. So I'm going to print Fola. And then outside my loop, I will just say printf. We have finished printing, right? Printing Fola. So this should be on a new line. Okay, so I'll just run this. So we have A to Z in small letters, and then we have finished printing Fola. So what if we wanted to print from, let's say from from H, no, let me check for someone's name. From E, Ezebon, from E to Z. Of course, your initialization statement should start from E. That's why it is our start point. So when you run the code, it will start from E till Z. So you see how the for loop is. This is where you want your loop to start. This is where you want it to stop. And this is your increment. All right. So you wanted to print it in capital letters. Of course, there's another task that should be in capital letters. Of course, you just have from capital letter A to small letter Z. And then you run it A to Z. Or you want to start from which person's name is there. I've used J already. So I'll use Abubakar. No, that's okay. Kwasi, I'll use K. I've used K already. Okay, I'll just use K. So capital letter K, and then it runs K to Z. We are finished printing Fola. Okay, so that is how we could solve this. This is solved already. See the concept now. But you were not supposed to use printf, but whichever you use is the same. This is putchar. Putchar is used to print. Printf to print. Puts is still used to print. But they say you should not use any of this. Rather, you should use putchar. I've not taught us this. In the lesson of printing out, that was our first lesson. You were supposed to be taking on all the displaying functions, but I don't know, we were not able to. So this one says, write the program that prints the alphabet in lowercase and then in uppercase. It's just the same thing here. It's a matter of you just copy this code and okay, let's just see it. Ooh. Okay. Okay, guys. I hope you can. Ezebon, can you hear me? Ezebon, can you hear me? Okay. Falakemi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Very good. So please, someone is at my gate. Just give me 2 minutes. Let me open the gate for them, please. All right, everybody.
All right.
Okay. Okay, so I'm back. I'm sorry for that. Though I didn't get what I was looking for, but I might still go again. But I'm back. I hope you can hear me. Abubakar, can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay, very good. Okay, very good. So here our task was to print A to Z in lowercase and then in uppercase. So it's just like having two for statements that's going to do that. But let me show you something. If I should run this loop here, what is going to happen? We'll just have A to Z and then it starts again. So what we could do is in the middle of the both of them, excuse me. Okay, sorry. So I was getting the door for someone. Okay, so we could just add a new line here in the middle of the both of them so that the next one could begin on a new line. So that is simple enough. We'll just say this, add your new line character, and then a semicolon. And then we have this. If you want it to be very, very clear, you could add another new line. We have 2 lines. Okay, so we have A to Z, and then we have finished printing for lab. So that was simple enough, I believe. So when I was having that, okay, write a program that prints the alphabet in lowercase, we've done. Okay, print all the letters except Q and E. Okay, that's simple enough. But then we've not learned about break and continue. So maybe here we have, let's see. We have break and continue as a lesson. So this is something that you learn along the line. But let me just see if I could just implement that here. So here we have a task that says we should print A to Z, but we should not print Q and E. Okay? So in this case, what do you think we should do? I need idea. What do you think we should do? I need somebody to tell me something. Oh, you've written the code already, so you should know. But then let me just go through it. So it says for this. So that means if Fala is equals to E, we should skip it. That means we should not print it. And also if Fala is equals to Q, we should not print it, right? So that's simple enough. So for Fala equals to this, I'll say if, this will use your if statement. If Fala equals to E, right? And or, remember your or operator, or is it 1 or 2? Or Fala equals to Q, right? Continue. Don't worry, you get to learn this. Now, continue is used to skip just a particular thing inside of your iteration, while break is used to just break the loop. It will just end the loop there. Okay? So let me run this loop. If Fala required as left operand, if Fala equals value required as left operand of assignment. Where is it? Okay, so we have A, B, C. You see, it has skipped our E. And then we have O, P, it has skipped our Q. So that is what the continue statement does. It just keep only one thing. If I was to use break will just end this loop and we will not see any small letters again. Rather, what we'll see is capital letters. So let me show us that. I'll say break. And then I'll comment this out. So if Fala is equals to E, immediately is equals to E, to just print A, B, C, D. And then when it gets to E, to terminate that loop. The reason you are seeing this one is this is another loop entirely. It's not part of this loop. Okay, so that's the difference between break and continue. I'll just remove this. Okay, so that's the task. I believe we got that right. So this is where I will end it. I believe we've seen how to use this concept in solving some of the real life problems and also attempting our tasks. To see that our tasks are not difficult once you understand this concept. So I'll give room for questions before I show us how we could clone and fork this repository as usual. So does anybody have a question? This is where you raise your hand up and no, not this. Okay, for Lakemi, you have a question, please ask.
Okay, sorry. The other time you said you asked if you knew why you put a space after Muglos C, but actually I do not know.
Okay, model. Okay. It's simple enough. So just hang in there. Let me tell you. So let me just remove this. Let's just leave this if statement. Right? Let's just have our normal loop. Okay, I'm going to remove this. Now, okay, let me change this to small letter. I want to show us the difference. Z. So this and this are the same thing now. Okay, I'll print this. I'll remove this space here. I'll print this. So you see how everything is clustered. Remember your printf, whatever goes inside of the quote will be printed to the screen. So if I was to add, let's say I add capital letter T in this. So for every time it prints A to print T. So we have AT, BT, CT, AT, BT, CT. Understand? So in this case, if I add a space, it means every time it prints A, it will give me space. Print B to give me space. So with that, I'm going to have spaces in between my characters. You see the difference? This has space, this does not, because I didn't put space here and I put space here. So that is why I added that space. Fola, do you understand?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so does any other person have a question? I'm rounding up now. So we understand for loop because we have tags up there in the repository. So if you don't understand, this is where you ask, because when I give you the task and you ask me, I will not tell you the answer. Rather, I will just tell you this is what you should do, or this is what is wrong with your code. So we are good. And I want to commend John Ezekiel and Fitzson. Both of them are here. Fitzson is here. Fitzson and John Ezekiel are the only persons that has attempted the attacks from the repository. So I commend them for that. Well done, guys. And well done, Fitzson. Fitzson is a lady. So for those who have not, please go on to fork the repository, clone it, and attempt to attack. Igali, please, you have a question. Go on.
So I wanted to know. So I created a pull request after doing the task. So I wanted to know how I'll know if you got the pull request or if you can see my thing. Like, how does it work? Or I'll just see. Am I making sense?
Okay, let me open here for you. Okay, if you have done your task and created a pull request, we'll see it from our end has happened, or you will still see a notification on your GitHub that this has happened. Okay, like here. Okay, someone, is this you?
Yes.
Okay, that means yours came an hour ago and I've not checked it. So yeah, I've seen it now. I'll review it and give you your feedback. This is Fitzson. Okay.
Sorry, I wanted to ask also, like, when you've maybe given me feedback, so I'll have to pull from my terminal.
No, you don't need to pull from your terminal. The only time you pull is when I add something to the repository. Of course, every time you just go to the repository, just git pull. In case I've added something to the repository, you will have it. Okay. Okay. But before you git pull, this is what you should do. Because I'm the owner of the repository. So if I should make changes to my own, it will not reflect to yours until you update yours. So on your own interface, you'll see something like after this code here, you'll see update or sync repository, something like that. So just click on that sync and click on the prompt that it will give you. Then it will synchronize it and update it for you on your own. This is where you go back to your terminal or wherever you were working from and do git pull to get all the changes. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, do we have any more questions? Okay, Falakemi, please ask a question. Fala?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I was trying to clone the repository, but I couldn't find my way around. Do you hear me?
Yeah, you said you were trying to clone the repository, but you couldn't.
Yes, but I couldn't find my way around.
Okay, I will show you again now. But if you couldn't, you could have watched the video from yesterday or the day before yesterday at the ending side. Just like as I'm showing now, I always show it at the end of the day. I will show you now. Okay? Okay, someone's hand was on board. I think I missed that. Okay, this is how we get the repository. So I'm just going to open another here. I will say David. To take a while, please. Let's go. I thought I pinned. Okay, I pinned it. Okay, so I want to show us how we could fork the repository now practically, not just saying it. Come on. Okay, so this is my account from another account, right? You can see it. This is not my account. So I'll go to the repository of David Michael. Come on. Okay, so I am in the repository of David Michael. I'll click on C programming tutorial. This is slow. Okay. So this is my PC is low. So this is me entering from another account. So this is how you fork the repository. You click on this. All right. When you click on this, it brings out the name. So you can change the name, but don't change it. Leave it the way it is. Then you scroll down to this is the only thing you just need to do. Just click. Okay. Then it's doing that. So when this is completed, it means you will have a copy of this repository in your own profile. Okay, so this is the profile of this particular account. I created this account just for this purpose. You see that? So this is this particular account, and this is, you can see the name has changed, code with Dave, not David in Michael, C programming tutorial. Forked from David in Michael, C programming tutorial. So this is the profile of this account, and you see I have this code here. So for you to clone, this is the one you should clone, not the one in David in Michael. So you click on this code here. Okay. Come on, don't show me that. The person that asked me about Git pulling, please, this is what I was telling you about. So whenever I make changes, you just come here and now everything is up to date. You just click on this place, you will see updates. You click on updates and everything will be here. You go to your terminal and do Git pull to get the changes. That's by the way. So after you find the repository, you click on code. You're welcome. The HTTPS URL, you just copy it. Go to your terminal. We know how to clone already. You just do git clone, and then you paste this URL. You hit enter, and then you see it will clone. Then you CD into. We know how to do that. You CD into the. Let me just close this. Let me use this for us. So to clone, I've copied the URL. So in your terminal, you just do git clone, and then you paste the URL. Then you hit enter, and then it will clone. After cloning, you CD into C programming _tutorial or --tutorial, right? Then you hit enter. You are now inside of C programming. Then you do your identity update, which is git config config -- global user.name, your username, then git config -- global user.email, your email address. That is all. Then afterwards, you CD into task. Remember, task is caps log. Task. Then you hit enter. Then you can list your files. You see all the tasks inside of that. Then you start to attempt them one after the other, depending on the one I've given to you. So for yesterday, you were given the tasks number 2 and 3. Task for conditional statements, you can see. So today we are, and then displays your name is, and you are right to put in the apps and raise the following input from. Okay, this is like yesterday. So today, please mark this. You are doing task 4. Number 1. My PC could go off anytime. Task 4, task 5. Right to put into my PC will go off now, so I will join you with phone to find the score of any number. Okay, using the function. Okay. So let me just open up my phone so I could join you and end the session. Okay, please hold on. Okay, so just do task 4. Sometimes it gets really, really hard, believe me. This is tax 6. Check even number is even not. Oh, okay. Please, you will do tax 4. You will do tax 6. I hope somebody's writing this down. Tax 4, tax 6. Okay, I'm here. I'm here now. Okay, so as I was saying, you will do tax. My PC went off. I'm sure we noticed that. So you will do tax 4, you will do tax 6, and then you stop there. Do tax 4 and tax 6. If I'm going to add any other tax, I will update it while sending the link and the steps in doing forging the cloning and all of that. I'll add it to that particular message. But for now, record that you are doing tax 4 and 6. For those who were not able to do tax 2 and 3 yesterday, that means you are doing 2, 3, 4, and 6. You see, this is why I say we should do it whenever I say we should do so. We'll not have loads of work to do. So if you want to encourage me to hold our session every time for you to learn like this, please attempt those tasks. That's the only way I can say, okay, you are ready to learn, and then I'll keep doing this kind of things. But if you don't, I'll just see that, okay, you don't really want to do this thing. I could just stop anytime. Okay? Fitsum, you have something to say?
Okay, so I was actually trying to send a pull request yesterday for task 3, but for some reason the green button on the GitHub didn't come from me, and I couldn't actually send a pull request. Can you assist me with that?
Okay, just inbox me on WhatsApp with a screenshot so that I will understand exactly what you are talking about. Okay? Okay, please. Okay, so we've come to the end of this session today. I believe we learned a few things too. Yeah, as usual. So before I end the session, does anybody have something to say? Anybody? Okay, that means we are cool. All right, no problem. So please go ahead to attempt those tasks. I will send the steps on how you could do all those things again, and we should go ahead and do it. So, okay. Gigali, please, you have something to say? Okay, let's rush it.
No, I just wanted to say thank you. Like, these sessions are really helping. Like, now when doing the other tasks, you can actually understand what's happening. So thank you once again.
Okay, great. I appreciate you too, and thank you very much. So I thank everybody for being out. It's not easy to actually want to learn. Okay? So I want to always advise us, please don't focus on your deadlines or your projects, rather focus on understanding the concept. Because from the concept, you'll be able to do the other things. Remember, in the real life world, nobody will give you those ALX tags and projects. So they will give you other problems that you need to use the concepts that you learn from here to solve those ones. So please don't focus on your deadline. As I always tell us, even if you finish your tasks on the third deadline throughout, you'll still meet up. Okay? You will still meet up your minimum score for everything. So that's what I always tell people. So take that and study more. Okay, stretch, ask questions. Don't be scared to ask questions. This is what most of us are failing at. You are scared to ask questions. Don't be scared. Ask questions. Like me, I ask questions a lot. I could ask 10 persons one particular question just to be sure I get it right. And that's the way we should learn. So till next time, I wish us all the best. Okay? So you can unmute your mics now and say good night to your friends. And
Good night. Bye.
Okay, thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Good night, everyone. Thank you, David.